Welcome to another episode of Sonoma Voices. Joining us today is true Sonoma voice, Heidi Geffen. Heidi, welcome to our living room or living rooms.
Good morning. Thank you for having me into your living room.
Oh my goodness. Give us all the goods first. Who you are and how did you choose to come to Sonoma?
All the goods. Okay, well, as you said, my name is Heidi Geffen, and I live here in Sonoma. I've lived here 20 years. I'll try to give you the condensed version of how I chose to live here. I actually had a dream that I was working in a company in Petaluma, which is also in Sonoma County. And very long story short, I pursued the dream. I got the job. The person that helped facilitate that lived in Sonoma, and she suggested I move here. And it was the best choice of my life.
When you came here, I remember when we talked about preparing this conversation, you mentioned how you felt when you came to Sonoma. Petaluma is here 20 minutes far from here, charming, beautiful. What happened when you came to Sonoma Square? How did you feel and why did you say, oh, this is the place for me?
So I moved from Los Angeles and, big city, lots and lots of people, and I was ready for a change. And coming into Sonoma, you start, let's say, in San Francisco, and it's kind of hustle bustle, and you're on the freeway, and there's a lot of cars. And then as you get closer into Sonoma County, where it's a little more agricultural, the roads narrow. Now you're on a highway instead of a freeway, and then all of a sudden you drive down Highway 12, also known as Broadway, and you drive into this little jewel box. It's like, I explain this to you, it's like a little golden, shiny, beautiful box. When you hit the square, you drive down this long road and you see this big palm tree. Right now, because of the holidays, the palm tree is wrapped in lights. It is the most fantastic vision. And you come in and it's like the best kept secret. And I saw that and I said, wow, this is magic.
You found the secret, you found magic. So
Yeah.
tell me what you do. What you do and who you are is Sonoma. Sonoma. Nobody is more Sonoma than you. Please tell us, please.
Okay. So I have a little store in town. It's called Tiddle E.Winks. It's a vintage 5 and dime. And I know, coming from Serbia, you probably did not have a 5 and dime growing up. So this was a store where in the day you could buy things for 5 cents or a dime, thus a 5 and dime, and very popular throughout the country. I grew up with one in the Midwest called Kresge's, and everybody went to Kresge's for everything. You could buy stationery, you could buy a goldfish, you could buy jewelry, you could eat French fries, you could do everything at Kresge's. And so it's also known as a variety store. So my take on that is more of a current trend of, gifts and a lot of old school toys and games and books and things that would take us back to our childhood, but with a more modern twist on it. But by making it a 5 and dime, it allowed me a lot of creative license, as you know, to bring in anything and everything and tell a lot of different stories.
Oh, it's a dream. This story is a dream. Whoever comes close to Sonoma has to come and see you and look around. It's not a secret that I'm there almost every day to say hi. My office steps from Heidi's store. Store is
Right.
steps from Sonoma Square, that jewel box, that magical place. every time I come in and look around, it's a dream. And also, I was going to ask you, you are there on the receiving side of who are your customers? Where are they coming from? And tell me some stories about that.
So, you start out in a little town and your customers are local. And I have to say, the kids of this town helped me build my business. So, to all the children of Sonoma who now have a lot of cavities, perhaps from all of the candy, but have had a really wonderful time visiting me. My store, 17 years into it, has changed a lot. I envisioned more of collectibles, and very quickly I learned it was more like a museum than a store. And so I've changed it up a bit, and therefore the people that I see that come in have also changed. And my goal was always to appeal to both our locals, so that people in town like yourself would know I can always come in and find a gift, whether it's Sonoma related, whether it's candy, whether it's a pillow or a glass or a towel or whatever. Locals many times come in and say, I knew I could find something here. That's music to my ears. Tourists from all over the world come in.
Tell us from where.
But they could be from as close as San Francisco to as far away as Finland, or I mean, I've had people from all over the world. Okay, you're the only one from Serbia. I will tell you a funny story. A funny story though about Israel. When I first opened, I had a couple in the store, and they were looking around and looking around. I don't speak Hebrew, but I could detect that they were speaking Hebrew. And they looked and they looked and they drayed and they drayed and they left. And they got to the door and they saw the mezuzah. And they turned around and they said to me, the man said, "Are you Jewish?" And I said, "Yes." And he said, "We'll buy something." They came back in and bought something. I love that story.
And as far as buying gifts, tourists can come in and buy a little thing that is not too big for their suitcase and take something home from your store. It's just, there's something for everyone.
You see that a lot of times. You see something advertised and it says, for ages, 3 to 103, or, for kids of all ages. And I truly do try to find something for everyone. How many times do you go in a store and you see a man sitting there waiting for his wife and he's bored? And I didn't want that to happen. I wanted men to come in and be just as excited about what's there. Something that I found too with the tourist is, people love Sonoma, and people want to go home and wear a hat that says Sonoma, or a t-shirt, or an ornament, or a keychain. So I have shifted my business a bit over the years to really accommodate that and make sure, people have a little bite of Sonoma that they can take home with them wherever they are returning to.
Wow, you mentioned you have been there for 17 years. I am here since 2007, and I've seen a lot of stores changing and closing and coming and going, and you're still there. What happened during COVID? Tell me, when lots of businesses closed, especially at the square of Sonoma. What did you do during COVID? How did you survive this 2 years?
Here's what I tell people. We can go back even before COVID. We can start with a recession in 2008. And then, of course, we had our wildfires in 2017. We've had power shutdowns. We've had floods. We've had drought. It's like everything has hit us. And now, of course, COVID. And, as a business person, my feeling is, first of all, you just show up. You know what that looks like. You show up no matter what. And, what can I do? What can I do to help you? So when our doors were shut, people were tapping on my door. Do you have a jigsaw puzzle? Do you have this? Do you have that? And I would wrap it up and bring it out to the car, or I would deliver. We had we came up with these happy care packages, and we
True
put
Sonoma
together.
style, dropping off games at people's doors so they couldn't go anywhere so they can
Right.
play games. Isn't that something? That's
Well, and
fantastic.
as a result of that, we started a puzzle lending library, because what happened was, in the beginning of COVID, when people were staying at home and looking for things to do, all of a sudden people started doing jigsaw puzzles. And retailers across the country ran out of jigsaw puzzles, and the manufacturers couldn't keep up. So one day, I had a mom and her daughter on their bicycles. They came over to get a puzzle, and I said, I'm completely out. And I explained the situation. And she said, I have some used ones at home. Do you want me to bring them to you? And I said, sure. And so we started a puzzle lending library at the beginning of COVID. So it's been almost 3 years now. And we keep it going all the time outside the store. People bring old puzzles, people come in and take one. And so, a little side, it's not even a business, but something came out of that that's been very positive. It forced a lot of people to what they called pivot. And I said, I've been pivoting since, the beginning of my business career. That's what you do to stay in business. You just show up and you listen to people, and what do they need? What do they want? That's how you keep it going.
You are a rock star of Sonoma. Without ever singing a tune, I haven't heard you singing. I just crossed my mind. Big companies closed their doors, and you, a single woman in a little store in Sonoma, kept going and actually had some better times with all
Absolutely.
fires and everything, because what you say, it's just incredible. I really admired your talent and your hard work and everything. And you're such a friend and a part of this community of Sonoma.
What I'll add to that, talking about the town of Sonoma and how you survive, is the locals kept us going.
Wow.
And so you build that, and you know this very well yourself from your various businesses in town. You build relationships with people, and you never know, your impact on people and how it will come back to help you and to serve you and to help you thrive. And that's really what happened, I think, during both the fires and the pandemic, is that people came in and just shopped. Just to, it takes money. The bottom line, for me, is I want to have fun, and I want to have a good time every day. And it's hard work, and you have to pay the rent. And so you can have a good time and you can do nice things for your community, and you have to pay the rent. And so a lot of locals just came in and spent money. That's what it takes, and it keeps it local. And you can bring your employees back, and if they live in town, you're just generating money in your own town, which is important. It worked.
Absolutely. One thing I noticed in my business, in my life since 2007, there is a feeling of community in Sonoma, what you're describing, and supporting each other any way we can. In traffic, making an eye contact, smiling at each other, waving, saying hello on a bike path,
Yeah.
an overlooked trail, supporting each other in businesses, and knowing each other. It's just an incredible feeling. I lived in 4 or 5 countries. If Bosnia and Serbia are now 2 countries, then it's 5. 5 countries. I haven't seen this anywhere in the world except for Sonoma.
It's the best of small town life. And there was a show growing up, and I know you didn't have this. It's called Mayberry RFD, and it's very small town, very, very small town. It was Andy Griffith, and I can't think of the guy now. His name was Opie, but oh my gosh, it's escaping my brain. But everybody knew, like, there was one policeman, and his name was Barney Fife. And there was like one cell, in the little, town where, the drunk would go. And I always say to people, this is Mayberry RFD. And if somebody is acting silly in the store, I'll say, don't make me call Barney Fife on you. It's just like, I just recently moved, as you know, and my UPS man saw me driving down the street, and stopped and got out and said, oh, did you find a place? And because he knew I was looking. And, while we were standing there talking, somebody else I knew, drove by and stopped. And I had something in my car for him. It's so connected, and it is so small. You do have to behave yourself.
You better be on your best behavior. And otherwise,
everybody knows what you're doing.
Otherwise, you're causing a scandal. That's Sonoma for you folks.
Yes, it is.
Come here and join us in this fabulous, how did you say, jewel box magical place.
Yes.
Oh my God, Heidi, so beautiful to see you. And your new place looks gorgeous. Thank you so much for joining us today. Next time, bring your Mr. Boomer Geffen. I am disappointed he's Heidi's little dog. He's just like part of Heidi he's in the store. Yes. He is with Heidi. He comes to my place. Next time, introducing Mr. Geffen too. Thank you so much, Heidi, for joining us. And thank you for listening. Thank you. And have a fabulous holiday season.
Thank you.